Hello, I am Orange Cat, and this is my analysis for Toonami's ratings for February 2nd, 2019. Overall, another pretty good night for the block. Let's start from the top. Dragon Ball Super. I was a bit wrong. I predicted it would rise up to a .40 this week. It stayed at a .38, but that's still an amazing rating. It's basic. Dragon Ball Super's probably the biggest. That and Family Guy leading into Dragon Ball Super are the biggest reasons for why we've had this schedule working, at least in my opinion. And it really shows this week. You have Boruto afterwards, another solid rating, a .25. I forgot last week. It was somewhere around that last week. Might have been exactly that. It might have been a hundredth either way. But still, very good number. You can see like it drops a bit, like it loses about a third of the desired audience from Dragon Ball Super. That's really no worse than any other show was doing following Dragon Ball Super. And it holds up well for the rest of the night. Even if you just take a quick glance at where the numbers are rest of the night, it just generally slowly decreases from there. It's not cratering. And that's something you really like to see in a show that's following a show with a large rating like Dragon Ball Super. And then right afterwards, you have My Hero Academia, only losing a little. Very good retention out of Boruto to .23, which is, again, something you really love seeing, especially considering how My Hero Academia was getting like .13, .14 a lot with the old schedule when it was like 9:30 at night. Fortunately, they got rid of that, and now it's here and it's getting good ratings. The Mob Psycho 100's finale ends very solidly for .22. I think it was like a .18 last week, so great improvement there. And I'm gonna go here and say it was a great finale. I really loved the end of the first season, and I'm really looking forward to season 2 when it inevitably airs on Adult Swim or Toonami, which unfortunately won't be immediately. I'll go into that in a minute. Megalobox doing pretty well too, .20. I think that's a small increase from last week, and it's only got a few episodes. I think like 4, maybe 5 episodes left until it's over. So it's really building up to its climax right now. So let's see how the ratings for that show do as it proceeds towards the finale. I think it's going to stay roughly there, maybe get up another hundredth or so. Then you have Diamond is Unbreakable, roughly around the middle of its run at a .16. I'll say it's not a bad rating, but at the same time, considering that the villain that was introduced in this episode was one of the more liked villains from Diamond is Unbreakable, maybe you'd expect it to jump up to like a .18 or so. But still, a .16 is definitely decent considering how Diamond is Unbreakable flirted with going below .10 at points with the old schedule. I'm comparing all these to the old schedule because I mean, for the most part, it's all these shows are doing better. Well, except for the next few I'm going to cover, but still, Black Clover, a bit of a down week at a .14, but down week and .14. I mean, it's down week considering that it was flirting with a .20 for a couple of the last few weeks, but considering it's at 2 a.m., that's not a horrible rating these days with cable. And Hunter x Hunter is kind of the same, but a .12, it drops 20,000 viewers in the key demographic, loses 200s from the show immediately preceding it. And it doesn't help that, for its sake, that Shippuden actually slightly builds on it afterwards, which again is just showing how devout Naruto Shippuden fans are. That's building at 3 a.m. again. And I think it did so. Like, someone on the Reddit, for Toonami Reddit, keeps posting each time it happens. Like, I think they're at like 40 something times, which I know Naruto Shippuden's aired like 250 episodes or something ridiculous like that so far and has like 150 left. But still, a pretty impressive build ratio, or amount of times you're building. And then you have the rerun part of the block. You have Attack on Titan, Pop Team Epic, and Gundam each doing .09. I mean, it's the rerun part of the block. You really don't have much expectations for that. But I guess one interesting thing to note how Gundam actually built a bit on Pop Team Epic, which might be sad to see how it's leaving the block soon with the new schedule, which I will go into right now briefly. Other than that, the only major changes towards the premiere part of the block is Mob Psycho 100 being replaced with Sword Art Online. I keep mispronouncing the word Alicization, Alicization or something like that. In my opinion on it, I think from a ratings perspective, it's a lateral move, which in this case is a very good thing to say considering how well Mob Psycho 100 did in this slot with this schedule. Lateral, maybe actually slightly lower. A lot of people think it's going to be this big boon for the network, this big boon for ratings. I don't see it being anything special. I just think it's going to keep on the general trend like you see right here, where it's just going to just decrease a bit from the previous show. If I had to throw a number for the premiere, which a number I guess I have to analyze next week, I'll say gets 415,000 viewers and a 0.21. And if I had to guess the key demographic 1849 viewers, I'll say 270, 275,000, something like that. I think it's a little slightly overhyped in terms of the demand for it to come back. But like I said, I've heard a lot of people say good things about this series in particular from Sword Art Online, because the original one is, I'll say, divisive, and a lot of people, from what I heard, didn't really like Alternative. But I heard some good things about Alicization. I think it's supposed to be Alicization because I think there's a character called Alice, and I haven't watched it myself, so I have no fucking clue what's going on here. But that's just my guess. It's really a prediction at best. And we'll see next week when the ratings for that come out. But yeah, in general, this was a great week for the block. I mean, I can't point any major flaws other than maybe the retention for something like Black Clover and Hunter x Hunter being poor relative to the front half of the block. But that's a small nitpick relative to the issues we were having this past summer, where we were having more shows threatening to go below a point 1 than threatening to go above a point 2 at points. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about that. Toonami still looking promising, in my opinion, for the short-term future. Let's see next week what reaction will be ratings-wise to Alicization replacing Mob Psycho 100. Hopefully we get Mob Psycho 100 Season 2 some point soon. Maybe in a few weeks when Megalobox ends its run. And maybe in the summer when Hunter x Hunter ends its run. And it's just interesting to see when they decide to do that, since I don't think, at least in the foreseeable future, Toonami will get another schedule expansion. I mean, but Adult Swim is trying weird things. I mean, they picked up Adventure Time's rights, something which I generally disagree with, like from a ratings perspective. Like, you have some people who really love the show and like, oh, it's great, it's coming back to TV. Those are the people that already bought like the box sets, already streaming it on Hulu. I think you get the whole show on Hulu, or maybe the whole show after the final season. I don't think that putting it at 8 o'clock is gonna really help your ratings. It's gonna build poorly into the rest of Adult Swim, and I would not be surprised if this schedule change does not last past mid-March or so. Well, that's a bit of a off topic, but to not me Adult Swim related. It's just something I have to get off my chest. But that's really something small relative to, again, back to Tommy. Very promising. Let's see how things are next week. And I just think it's going to be positive. And that's really all I have to say. I am Orange Cat, and that is all.